guys, welcome back to On Texas Football. Welcome back to our Friday live stream. I'm lifetime Longhorn Brent Venables. Pleased to be joined by the estimable Jerry Hamilton. He's on the road as always. Shout out to our sponsors, Garage Beer, Prize Picks, and Hayes City Store. We'll tell you more about them coming up later on. But of course, the show belongs to you. Throw out your questions, comment many of them as we can. Super chats always jump to the front of the line, and you can enter other folks. Where you at?
Rod, have a little bit of a connection issue here, so we're dealing with that a little bit. But it's Rod's Free Flow Friday, right? We're gonna answer all your questions. Jeff Howe may jump in a second. I am on the road. Of course, I'm at a Chick-fil-A, as you can probably see somewhere in here. There you go. I'm at a Chick-fil-A in Longview. I'm going to go to the Longview, Texas High scrimmage tonight and check out what those guys have got. After coffee and football this morning, I headed on over to Mansfield Summit down the way and took a look at Cam Hall. They had a scrimmage last night. Cameron Hall had a scrimmage in Mansfield Summit against Keller. He played, 8-10 snaps. I'll take all your questions. So throw your questions at me. Jeff Howe should join us here in a few minutes as well. But Cam Hall had a scrimmage last night. First of all, I want to say this. He looks phenomenal physically. I've said this before. Cam Hall's one of those guys. You want me to start dancing? I don't think anybody wants to see me start dancing. But I'm right by an Outback, so I may be dancing with a steak here in a little while. But Cam Hall's always looked tremendous physically to me. He's 6'5", 252, 253, 255, in that range, depending on when he eats and when you weigh him. But he looks like he weighs 230. He has got that sort of frame. And he talked about, we're going to have a 10-minute interview with him coming up here. I did with him today that producer Matt will have up for you guys in the next few days. He talked about Jamarian Carlton. Frame similarities. Jamarion's got a little longer arms. Now, Jamarion's got he's got those crab arms, right? He's got the super long arms. But Cam Hall talked about having a similar frame, and that's right. I mean, there is a lot of truth in that. Cam Hall is going to be a guy who's 6'5", 280, 285, maybe even pushes 290 one day. He's probably going to play more of that 5 technique as he gets older. Can be an interior pass rusher. But in their scrimmage against Keller, I talked to Coach Hall. The head coach is Coach Shannon Hall there. Talked to him extensively. We're actually going to have him on Coffee and Football this week, and he can tell you about Cam Hall from his perspective, having coached him and growing up. But, he had less than 10 snaps in the scrimmage against Keller. He had a sack. When they lined him up inside, he had a sack on his first snap inside. His first snap outside at the edge, he got a holding call against him. He ended up getting 2 holding calls against him. And it got to the point where per Coach Hall, the Keller staff was like, y'all can go ahead and take this guy off the field. We've seen enough. Y'all have seen enough. Get him off the field. And he wasn't going to play much. So they did take him off the field. He played about 10 snaps, 8, 9, 10 snaps in that range. But he looks tremendous physically. It was a great interview. He'll be at the Ohio State game. It brings up, I am at a Chick-fil-A, for those asking, in Longview, on the loop here over by Longview High School. So it brings me to this. Nathaniel Loper asked about Kellen Hall out of Louisville, Kentucky in 2028. He's a 5-star ranked prospect. I would say this. He's somewhere on Texas board. I'm not sure he's as high on Texas board as the national rankings would suggest he should be. He's on the board. He's one of the guys in the mix. Is he at the top of the D-tackle board in 28? I would say no, based on what I've heard. But he is on the board somewhere. I think there's some guys even deeper into the Southeast that Texas may like a little bit better early on. But these guys are just beginning their junior year. So we shall see where that goes. Obviously, scrimmage tomorrow at 9:45-ish in the morning, just like last week. Scrimmage number 2. And I think it's Bobby Verton talked about. We kind of gave our opinions on the scrimmage this morning. And Bobby talked about the offense, kind of showing signs of gelling, some big play offense, being a consistent offense, taking that next step as they had. We've reported earlier in the week in practice, had a couple of really good practices. That's where Bobby, that's what he's looking to hear out of the scrimmage. For me, I want to hear Jonah Williams has another good scrimmage. And I really sucks that Rod's not here because I wanted to talk to him about this. Because Jonah has not had I call it a football life because he's been in baseball. He hasn't had a football off season. He hasn't been healthy enough since cracking the clavicle in football. His ninth game of his senior year was the last time he was fully healthy in football. Since then, he's had the injuries, whether it be football, baseball. He hasn't had a football off season in a long time because he's always gone to baseball. But he made the interception. He made 2 or 3 really good tackles, including one in space on Malik Brown. So for me, I'm looking at more players. Do I see Jonah Williams starting Ohio State? I can't go there. I think he needs some football consistency. But I want to see him stack another strong scrimmage performance. If he stacks another strong scrimmage performance, then let's see where this goes for him. But he's got to stay healthy, one. Then he's got to stack some consistent scrimmages. And I think the scrimmages are big. And obviously, the practices are key for him having the ability to make a push up the depth chart, challenge Kobe Black, challenge Derek Williams. But I really think he's a gamer. He's a playmaker, and he's an instinctive player. And those sort of things only show up when the lights are on and the scrimmages, really, truly, for an athlete like Jonah Williams. And I think Jonah is set up to make a run here, but he needs to have a really good second scrimmage. Rod, are you back?
Man, I apologize about that, guys.
That's better.
Is it better? Okay.
Hey, we're better now.
Okay. My apologies about the technical difficulties. My wireless, it's Friday for everybody, including my wireless provider. But getting back to it, I guess you guys were talking about the Jonah Williams and what he can do. That's why the second scrimmage, it's important for a lot of different positions. And maybe you guys have already talked about it. I mean, safety, that safety spot, opposite Jelani McDonald, this second scrimmage is important for so many of those guys. All 3 of them, Derek Williams, Jonah Williams, of course, and Kobe Black. And all of them, I think, have had a good camp so far. That's been a good competition where we've heard reports about guys, obviously, changing positions for Kobe Black. Jonah Williams had his own struggles just staying healthy. But this specific camp, all those guys have gotten shout outs from the head coach. Yes. And all the reports are that they're all moving in the right direction. They haven't been much regression from any of those guys, including Derek Williams, we haven't talked about him a lot, probably because he's still the number 1 guy at that safety spot, even though he's getting pushed by Jonah and also by Kobe Black.
Yeah, and I thought, Rod, I think the thing with both of those guys, I was talking about Jonah, how he needs football consistency right now. No setbacks from a health standpoint, but stack another strong scrimmage. I'm not as concerned about the practices. I mean, he's got to learn Muschamp. Muschamp's got to learn him. He's got to truly show Muschamp he understands the scheme. But ballers come out in the scrimmages and in games. And that's what he is, whether it's football, whether it's baseball. That's just what he is. He's a playmaker. And playmakers a lot of times show up when the lights are on. Man, I think it's a very important scrimmage for Jonah to show some football consistency. If he comes out and we hear about, even if it's not an interception, making play on the ball down the field like he did last week. Open field tackle against Malik Brown again, where he did not get sucked into a bad angle and took a really good angle and took him down one-on-one. Malik Brown, hard to do. If we hear some more of those things, I think Jonah's starting to position himself to make a serious run at playing time and compete with Kobe Black and compete with Derek Williams. And I think it's huge for Kobe Black as well at that safety. That safety spot's one I'm really looking at. And then another one I'm really looking at, and Joe Z talked about it in the chat. Justice Terry didn't scrimmage last week because he was sick.
That's right.
He gets his first scrimmage this week. I think this is a huge Saturday coming up for Justice Terry, guys, because the reality is, similar to Jonah, he hasn't had much football consistency since he's been at Texas. He was injured coming out of high school. He got through last year, showed some flashes late, came in underweight, added the 30 pounds. He's 290 now, didn't scrimmage Saturday. This is a big scrimmage for him because, look, we've heard Murad Watson's having a whale of a fall camp. Mm-hmm. We know what Ian Jafar can do. We know what Alex January can do. You know what Hero Canoe can do. Now you're having Murad Watson come on. There's a spot for a disruptor, but Justice Terry, it's a big scrimmage for him because Will Muschamp has not seen him in game action. or scrimmage action to this point. He's seen him in practice, but he hasn't seen him in its closest thing to a game. He will.
It's a good point. Jeff Howe joins us now, fresh from the pickup line, the school pickup line. Jeff, how you doing? We're talking about, obviously, guys who should have or need to have a big second scrimmage right before they kind of start game week prep and get that too deep on that depth chart finalized. Who do you think, in your mind, needs to have need to hear about having a really good scrimmage this second time around?
How about anybody in the tight end room not named Michael Masunas?
Good one.
Because he's factored in, and we talk about this often. And to Rocky's point, and I did jump on late. I think Jerry's going to bounce here in a minute, but so I apologize, Jerry, if you or Rod took care of this. But will there be more scheming on both offense and defense? Be less predictable? The second scrimmage for college football teams is a lot like that third NFL preseason game, where a lot of coaches will call it the dress rehearsal game. You'll call it more like you would a game, like Sarks even said, like the first scrimmage, just more, hey, just kind of spot the ball and go play. So you're not going to show everything, but you'll do a little bit more. So yeah, there will be a little bit more nuance to it. But we talk about Sark's love for 12 personnel, and that's great. But I think right now, like given where we stand right now, if 12 personnel is your dominant personnel package, you're doing yourself in this offense a disservice by doing that. Because that means that's less snaps for Jermaine Bishop or Emmett Mosley or one of the running backs. So I think Nick Townsend can be a weapon, a guy that you can really weaponize. But didn't hear much about the tight ends in scrimmage one. Haven't heard much about the tight ends to this point in camp, quite frankly, outside of Masunas. So if you're going to force Sark's hand and force him to utilize 12 personnel the way he wants, you're running out of time to do it.
Yeah, no, I love that. We've talked about that too. I agree with you, Jeff. I think 35% is around the 12 personnel usage for Sark since he's been here at Texas. And I wonder this year if you'll see it for the first time kind of drop considerably and drop it down to maybe 25, 30%, and then fill in the gaps with 21 personnel, pony package. Who knows? Maybe throw in some of that red package you had there at Alabama, that kind of stuff. All right. So Rocky P, thank you for the super chat. It's been on the screen for a while. We've been getting after it, but I do like that super chat. We appreciate that one. And we'll get to some of your other questions as well here. Jerry, before you get out of here, because I know you're going to have anything that you wanted to get off your chest, actually.
Yeah. So I'll answer this question from Connor C. Recruiting of Joakim Gouda, the linebacker out of McEachern, who's a strong commit to Georgia, by the way. If he OVs in the fall, what percentage would you give for Texas to flip him? It's an interesting recruitment because not that he wasn't a lean to Georgia anyways. I'm not sure how hard Texas actually pushed in May for him. So let's see if he actually gets on campus because Will Muschamp went through there in May. In the spring evaluation period. I'm not sure how hard Texas actually made that push at that point. So let's see if he actually shows up on campus. If he does, then it'll get real. Until then, it's not real. Texas is going to talk to a lot of guys. A lot of kids are going to keep in contact with other schools. But until he gets to campus, and you said, what if he makes it to campus? Let's see if he gets to campus. Then some feedback if he actually makes it to campus, what happened there. And then we'll go there because right now I put it at very, very low percentage. I almost think Georgia and him would have to almost part ways right now for him not to go to Georgia. So let's see if he makes a visit to Texas this fall, how Georgia reacts, where things go from a Texas perspective. Somebody asked, I think it was Marcus Myers, about Casey Barner. Everybody in America is recruiting that dude. Texas is recruiting him. Look, I think Kirby was at his game last week. This is one that Georgia's and one of the in-state guys, they're going to put up all the fight for. Ohio State's definitely going to be in there. And we'll see where that goes. But Texas is absolutely recruiting him. He is one of the best prospects in the country in 2028. But I would put the edge right now for Georgia and Ohio State in one of the orders there. Maybe Ohio State fans Ohio State people seem to think they lead. I'm not so sure. We'll see. But I don't think the NIL portion of this stuff with these 28s has really got kicking quite yet.
All right. Good stuff as always, Jerry.
Yep.
Jerry, if you got to go, obviously you're in front of a Chick-fil-A, so we appreciate you taking the time while we get
Absolutely.
everything settled.
All right, guys.
Go enjoy that chicken and waffles from Chick-fil-A. Do they have that now?
You know what I'm enjoying tonight? Or a little later? A physical John King Longview football team scrimmaging a very talented Texas High team here at Longview, one of my favorite Friday night venues in America I've ever been to. But Quay Ford, the offensive tackle, somebody asked about him. He's an SMU commit over Ohio State, very talented. A guy Texas tried to get to campus. He's a 27 offensive tackle, but he never made it down. We have not heard anything about Texas keeping tabs on him this year. We have heard Texas is going to keep tabs on Demarion Johnson at Tyler Legacy, the A&M commit, and Jasper Ngokwe, the Vanderbilt commit. We'll see if anything shakes with any other in-state offensive linemen now that the season's getting going. But you guys have a great night, great weekend, and we'll have a lot of stuff from the scrimmage tomorrow and otherwise.
All right. Thanks, Jerry. Appreciate you. Jerry Hamilton, man about town, as always. He's always on the go. All right, before we get back to questions, and thank you, Jeff, for joining us as well. We know you got a busy schedule, but thank you for taking the time. Let's take the time to thank a couple of our sponsors before we move on. Thank you to our friends over at Garage Beer, first and foremost, for sponsoring our Friday live stream. The Garage is always open with Garage Beer. It's one of my favorite light beers now, folks. At first, I started out drinking it just couple of times on the weekend, but now I pretty much have my fridge stocked with Garage Beer. It's actually great tasting. It's fantastic. You'll love it as well. And I found that the traditional is great. But they also have the lime, which is really, really good too. So if you're thinking about switching up, or if you need a really good light beer, think about Garage Beer. Only 95 calories, crisp, refreshing, and it's beer flavored beer, as they call it. But it's pretty simple and to the point, not trying to impress you with fancy ingredients or the rich history or their secret brewing techniques. And you're right to the point. Great tasting light beer, and it's always designed to have a good time. So right here, we appreciate them, as well as thank our friends over at Prize Picks. While we're talking about having a good time, Prize Picks also gives you that much more entertainment value, all right, to your sports viewing experience, folks. No matter what sport you like, what sports you love, our friends over at Prize Picks, they give you a great way to follow your sports, but now to do it in a really, really fun way. It's America's #1 sports pick app, and it provides you ways to pick different players. You can pick more or less on player stats, but if you like picking teams, you can do that too. They got you covered there as well. You can now pick the winner, the spread, totals on games, even fights. Also available in most states, including right here in the great state of Texas, California, Florida as well. Also, they add a new feature, which is you can follow different users. So if you like somebody's picks, you can just, with one click, you can follow them and follow their picks. If you have friends that are picking, you can follow them and troll them, have a good time by following their picks as well. They also now have provided a really, really cool offer for you to take advantage of. Play your first $5 lineup, and if you win, you'll get $150 in bonus lineups. All you got to do is use the code HMA when you sign up. So download the Prize Picks app today. Use the code HMA, play the first $5 lineup, and if you win, they're going to give you $150 in bonus lineups. It's just that simple. Make sure you use that code HMA. And as always, play smart, play responsibly, play Prize Picks. Thank you very much to our friends over at Prize Picks for sponsoring the Friday live stream. All right, Jeff, let's get right back. Oh, you know what? We appreciate you anchored. Keep us informed too. We love you, Jeff and Rod. Thank you, Tejana 512. We appreciate that. Always good to hang out with my man Jeff, because we go way back, like 8 tracks. I don't even know how long it's been now since Jeff and I've been working there. We found some way to work together in all these different variations and iterations. It was Longhorn Blitz and at the Zone for a while. And then we was working at the Horn for a while, still doing the Blitz. And now we work together at OTF. Jeff and I always end up working together. We did some work at 247 together for a little bit. We always end up working together.
I'll tell you, Rod, I'll give the line of demarcation when we started working together. Willie Lyles was a thing. For that, Will Lyles had the Oregon deal going on. So I think that's where you and I first got connected. So it might have been 2008-ish, somewhere along there.
I remember that. Shade, yeah. I went to school with that dude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because those deals where like the Oregon stuff was coming out, and Rod, you had said something, and I had I didn't have your number at the time, but I texted you, and I'm like, Rod, it's FYI, Will Al's is shady, like it ain't it's not
out there.
Board, and yeah, so that's how long Rod and I go back.
I remember
back when
that.
we thought the NCAA still had some
integrity
of power.
Yeah, there you go. Man, that's a blast from the past right there. Definitely the first time that name has been mentioned on OTF. Still waiting for the Blitz to come back. I know. Basically, it is the Blitz. And shout out to my man, Matt Butler, man. We love Matt Butler. Football theorists stick together. Yeah, no doubt. All right.
Hey, by the way, the laptop that I have right now is a laptop I bought from Matt Butler that he won off of from his fantasy football when he's one of the companies he does business with. Gave him a free laptop. Matt's like, I don't want it. I was like, yeah, I'll buy it off you. So shout out to Matt Butler.
That's how good he is at fantasy, guys. Like I said, dude's winning laptops and fantasy. He might be the best fantasy mind that I've ever encountered in terms of fantasy sports. And I don't even play fantasy like that. But you should go. I used to go over his house sometimes. Dude's like a beautiful mind over there. He's got stuff set up and different charts and everything. I'm like, what you do? He's like, got some games tonight. I'm like, wow. Let me get out of your way.
y'all know, like y'all know when Jimbo Fisher called his own plays, and Jimbo's got like 9 laminated sheets in front of him, and he's like got like peering over it. That's Matt, like on a normal, like I'm doing WNBA fantasy, like that's Matt.
Yes, exactly. And then you'd be like, that's like what WNBA? Yeah, oh no, yes, WNBA.
Yes.
Rocky P, what's up? Thank you for the super chat. Says Rod, hearing players are trying to get out of NFL contracts during camp to get back in college football. What are we doing? Yeah, so there's been another injunction for those who haven't heard. Now, I believe the NCAA had a bit of a win in the most recent injunction where essentially now all of these cases, the ones from the 2022 class, the guys who you thought almost exhausted eligibility, but they didn't. They went to the NFL and get into training camps and got cut and are now petitioning to come back to play in college football. Though I believe it's now up to the state courts. Like they're going to have to, right? It's going to be a state, and not that the latest is that it will be decided at the state level.
Yeah. So basically, if you had your own lawsuit, your own litigation, and you received a TRO through that, then you're fine. Which is why Cole Hudson is fine, because I know it was only a few weeks ago, but it seemed like it was about 6 months ago. Cole did file his own lawsuit against the NCAA. I actually filed it in Travis County, and I think it was maybe a month ago, right around there, that went through. So Cole has his own deal, so he's fine. Plus, he got minicamp invites and attended minicamp, but he never signed an NFL contract. That's where I don't like. That's the part where I'm like, okay, I'll suspend disbelief on this to an extent. And this is where I'm just gonna call a spade. And like I saw, I can't remember if it was Stuart Mandel or Pete Thamel, but one of them reported today that they had talked to a personnel guy that NFL players are actually going to GMs and asking to be cut so that way they can somewhere. That's where we're at, Rod. And I just I cannot fathom that's where we're at. Like we got asked about it on the Wednesday live stream. I think that was when the Louisiana injunction came down. And I said, well, what about Ethan Burke? Ethan Burke's trying to make the Baltimore Ravens roster right now. He's not thinking about Texas.
He shouldn't be. Yeah.
It's exactly. So it's just, the NCAA did this to themselves. They have nobody to blame but themselves on this. And, the sooner we are through this craziness, the better off it's going to be. But yeah, that's where we're at, Rod. Where reportedly, there are some guys asking to be cut so that they can go back in the transfer portal and play another year of college football.
That's mind blowing. That's the state of college football right now. And like I said, it's still popular. We love it, and we're gonna watch as many games as we can. But it's a fustercluck. And it is no doubt about that. Greg says, thanks for all your hard work. Jeff is hot in Flowtown. Rod, I met you and Kevin Dunn. I believe it was HEB in Pflugerville. Yeah, about a few years ago. Yeah, we used to do those HEB remotes back in the day. Shout out to my man Kevin Dunn. Has been around. Introduce myself as Jeff's old coach. Oh, that's great. That's awesome. Oh, man.
Just quick sidebar on that. So Rod and I forgot how we got onto it, but we were talking the other night. I think it was when we were doing the Tuesday live stream, which, by the way, great interview with Bryant Westbrook. That's on the channel. If you haven't checked it out, please do.
Legit.
But Rod and I were talking about our old days at the Horn, where like we had a day where we couldn't broadcast because you can maybe zero in what animal it was, Rod. Some wrote either a squirrel or a raccoon, one or the other.
Something.
Had chewed through a transmission line and like fried itself, basically chewed through the transmission line.
I remember that.
Yeah, so it's like, but things were so wheels off. All of it was like, oh, okay, that makes sense. I would just phone it in.
It was just another day in radio.
Another day, man.
Another day in radio. Radio got some weird stories like that. My man Marcus, what's up, Marcus? How you doing, brother? Says, so who is Texas looking at from the NFL, Jeff? Have you guys talked about that yet? No, listen, Texas has the kind of roster where, like, some people talking about, oh, why don't this guy come back? Some of those guys coming back would have a hard time trying to, get into the rotation and see the field potentially. And I'm not talking about guys who have been cut from rosters already. Like, that's how loaded the Texas squad is. Ethan Burke's gonna make the practice squad at least. At least he may make the 53. He may make the roster, but he's definitely, I think, the guy they're gonna keep around for the practice squad. From what I gather, I keep up with those guys and how they're doing in training camp and try to get little updates. And I hear he's doing really, really well. Kind of like,
and you know how it is, right? Yeah, Marcus is trolling because we had. I
know he is. I know you're trolling, but not everybody is.
No, but just for everybody that might not sure, like, why is Marcus asking about this? Like, we had somebody that asked it literally like once every 10 seconds on the Wednesday live stream this week about if Texas is going to go. And like right now, like I put it to you like this, right? Like LSU got a commitment from the Notre Dame edge, who I think has like 9 career tackles for loss, like didn't sign with an NFL team. Basically, like you're adding a body at that point. At this point, like if I'm Le'Allen Clark, right, and there's an edge, we'll just use edge as a hypothetical position. Am I going to go try to convince Brandon Harris and Sark right now, 15 days, 2 weeks before kickoff, to maybe negotiate NIL, rev share, whatever, with somebody in the portal, number one, and number two, why would I basically get the equivalent of like an NFL street free agent and bring them in and put time and effort and energy into getting them ready when you've already been doing that with guys like Jamarian Carlton and Richie Wesley and Smith the Robo? You've been doing that with them since January, and in Smith the Robo's case, you've been doing that since last year. So it doesn't make any sense just to bring in a body at this point. Like, if it was a difference maker at a position of need, now you're talking about a totally different ball of wax. But if you're talking about, well, do you need to add a body? No, at this point, just trust your in-house development that if it got down to that point on the depth chart anyway, like, you're probably in a world of hurt at that position regardless. So,
there's really, and by the way, I don't judge the guys for trying to get to come back. Like, they don't hate the player, hate the game. If they can come back and make money to play football when they couldn't do it professionally because the NFL is going to cut them, let them do it. But college football and probably the teams themselves probably should draw a line in the sand of like, you know what, now guys, we're not moving backwards here. All right. In terms of bringing guys back who've exhausted, who pretty much exhausted eligibility, but have found a loophole, basically.
Like, here's an interesting one. So I saw this. So Thomas Castellanos, the former Boston College and Florida State quarterback, is eligible now. And again, I believe it was Stuart Mandel that reported that Texas Tech is a place to watch. Like, if you're Will Hammond at Texas Tech, it's like you guys already drug yourselves through the mud in the court of public opinion and try to get Sorsby eligible. And now, 2 weeks before the start of the season, you're looking at another quarterback. Like, do you just not believe in me? Like, if I'm Will Hammond, I gotta be like, what do I have to do to prove to you that I'm worth the investment at this point? Do you not trust me to run this football team? So that's the other side of this. If it is somebody, and I don't know if Thomas Castellanos is a difference maker or whatever at this point, but like, if I'm a guy like Will Hammond, like what else do I have to do to prove to you that I'm worthy of an investment here?
Yeah. It's a good point. No, I agree with you about that. All right, moving on. I saw Rocky P. Does Rock still have his HEB yoga pants ranking? Yeah, it wasn't based solely on the yoga pants. It was the Real Housewives of HEB. Those particular whatever HEB we were at, HEB Westlake or the at Lake Travis HEB. Everybody's got their own neighborhood HEB. Based on the entire HEB, the produce section, how much we like the section with desserts and all that kind of stuff, right? The bakery, how the grocery store was set up, like how much like free stuff did they have there, right? Did they have, you can get the samples and all that kind of stuff. Like it was the entire, like, it was the entirety of the HEB experience that we were ranking, not just the yoga pants, but the Real Housewives of that HEB were a big part of it. Yes, that was like 50% of the rating was based on the Real Housewives of that HEB, and if they showed up, and most of the time they showed up. Yeah.
I was at the risk of incriminating myself, and yes, every now and then there is off the wall stuff I say on the streams that does get back to my wife, because whether it's been radio or my stuff at OTF, my wife or now, did you say fill in the blank on the air? I'm like, why? There's a reason, Rod. If we pulled up the power rankings, Westlake's going to be number one, and for a lot of reasons, it'll be really hard to knock the Westlake HEB out of that number one spot. Westlake
was always in the top 3. You ended up having the Hancock Center. Don't forget about that Hancock Center over there.
There's some construction going on over there.
Oh, see, now it is, but back in the day, that was one. And trust me, there was some that they were perennial contenders. I won't go through the list, but
but the Westlake HEB too got the nice food set up too, so that's a bonus. So I don't know. We probably talked too much about HEB power ranking.
All right. Thank you, Matt, for the super chat. Says hook up Jen, started listening to y'all on the Blitz. Y'all the best duo and the biz. Thank you, brother. Love Roddy's football theories and Jeff's Texas football history lessons. Thank you, bro. Appreciate that, Matt. Now always good to work with y'all. I said been doing it now for I don't know how long. It's been a long time, but it's been a fun time.
I have to give the history lessons, Rod, including we got to talk about the late Mac Brown era. We got to talk about Charlie Strong. We got to talk about Tom Herman, because those who do not learn from history are doomed to repeat it. So
damn right.
That's why they keep me around.
No, I love it. Like I said, it's amazing. Jeff feels like an old soul because he tells all these stories about Texas football, but he's actually a pretty young dude.
I believe it or not, I am.
As I say, he is. People think Jeff is older than me. People are like, "How old is Jeff?" I'm like, Jeff's not that. Jeff's younger than me. I go like Jeff is old. Jeff is just knowledgeable and wise. That's all.
Speaking of HEB, I once got carded buying adult beverages at an HEB and got asked for my ID, and the cashier, I kid you not, Rod, she said, "Oh, you're a lot younger than you look." I was like,
"Thanks." I was going to take that. MF says, "At Rod as a DB, if you were on this team, who would you like to go up against, and who would you like to avoid, and why?" This is a great question. I feel like this is a fun question. At Jeff as O-line, who would you like to face? And this is a great question.
None of them, because I was a scrub high school offensive lineman. I ain't facing a D1 defensive lineman. That's not happening. I'll answer the second part of the question for Rod though. Who would you avoid? I would avoid Cam Coleman, because with his catch radius, you can do everything right, and he can still make you look foolish.
Yeah, see the thing about Cam, and you're right about that, because he's contested catchability. I can be draped all over him, and he can still end up making a Cirque du Soleil catch, and I had great coverage. But as a D, and I don't want to give that up, but as a DB, I still would have sticky coverage. You know what I mean? And the guys that I fear, the guys that can just leave me, like that can create the separation. I'm like, I can't. Cam Coleman couldn't create that much separation, but he's not really trying to. He just knows if I get one-on-one, throw it up to me, ball placement, and I can win. So sometimes the guys who are as quick as they were fast are quicker than they were fast. The guys who can get in and out, acceleration and deceleration, get in and out of breaks, those guys. So Texas has bigger receivers right now. And so bigger receivers, I actually enjoyed going up against bigger guys because I could keep up with them, and they had a bigger frame for me to put my hands on and be able to try to control them. I know that sounds weird, but to me that was comforting because I could, the small guys that if that did get caught with my hips locked with the wrong arm extended, gone, done. I can never recover. My makeup speed means nothing when I'm going up against guys like that. So to me, the guys who had the freaky speed and the twitchiest, those were the guys that really, ain't gonna lie, scared me. They scared me because I was like, if I make the wrong move technique wise, and with big guys, Robbie got some recovery speed now. I'm gonna get that. But with some dudes, that guy's gone. Once I make the wrong move, he's gone technique wise. So that's why probably a Bishop, is probably one of those guys that would to me be the toughest to cover, and probably the ones would be the most troublesome. Because if you make the wrong move against them, the separation is crazy.
It's interesting if you look back at your career, Rod, just thinking of it off the top of my head, like guys like the bigger, like a Reggie Williams or like a Rashawn Woods, like you played against some guys.
Played against some guys.
you held your own against like the bigger guys because you could jam them and you had the recovery speed, like you said. But I don't know. It seemed like I remember guys like Bethel Johnson, guys like the track guys that could just get, like you said, could get a release on you real quick and then boom, like the long speed is elite. Like, yeah,
that's scary.
I think those kind of guys give anybody trouble. But yeah, you held your own against the bigger guys.
The bigger guys, because like I said, my speed was one of my main assets. So I figure as long as I can control that big guy, and I had long arms, so I got a long wingspan and got big hands. So Cam Coleman would probably body me a couple of times, but I would end up making a couple of plays. Like you said, I played against those guys. The big wideouts were in vogue when I played. Mm-hmm. But those freaky, twitchy guys, those are scary. Like Worthy, Worthy would freak. Now Worthy is different because Worthy, I would try to play Worthy's line of scrimmage to get a jam on, because that was my thing about Worthy and Wingo. Wingo is different because Wingo and Worthy, like, they do have kind of elite speed. Now Worthy is the fastest man in the history of the combine, but I do believe I can get a jam on Worthy. So I would try to jam him. I can't play off on Xavier Worthy and expect to cover that dude, because once he gets the top speed, what am I going to do? That's why you can run a curl at 18 yards on you, because you got to turn and go. But with Ryan Wingo, I just try to get like physical with him downfield. And the same thing with Worthy, because they're not great at the catch point, like contested catch point with guys, being physical with them and getting like all like bodying them all into their body. Like Worthy was great when he was clean downfield. He was great, but if you got into his body downfield like you do with Wingo, both of those guys, they're not going to adjust right. So
yeah, it's almost like that's why my prototype receiver, and yeah, you'd love to have like Randy Moss or Megatron. My prototype receiver has always been a guy like Andre Johnson, right? Like round 6'2", like 210, 220-ish, kind of a more like a running back build, but at the same time, he's got the feet and the long speed. Like, what are you going to do with that guy? Because you can't really jam him. You're not going to get a clean jam on him either. But if you play off, he's running by you. So that to me, like, those are the hardest guys, I think, for corners to deal with.
Yeah, those are the freaks. Yeah, those guys, they don't have a weakness really with those kind of guys. But most guys, they're either bigger receivers, or they're guys who rely on their speed, or guys who rely on their twitchiness. And Bethel ran a 4.2, I think, if I'm not mistaken, at the combine. I want to say he's one of the 4.2 guys.
Him had quite a few of those guys in your time.
Yeah. Oh no, Bethel was he's one of them dudes, man. If you didn't turn your hips and go, Bethel would blow right by you and make you look bad.
I love Marcus. He's still Bethel Johnson, apparently still a problem for people.
I wouldn't doubt that. He's one of those guys that had, like, I was at top gear, and then he would hit another gear. Like, you'd be like, oh, we both at top gear, going deep. Yeah. And then he would see the ball, and then he would hit another gear and go, oh, I'm at top gear. He wasn't at top gear then. Like, he's one of those guys. And Worthy's kind of like that too, in that respect. All right. Good conversation. Let's get a couple of more questions. Jack says, okay, y'all, did y'all see the huge extension OU just gave Venables? Yeah, what are your thoughts about this? Listen, I think the jury's still out on Brent Venables. Am I wrong about that? Like, but the point is, I guess why most people don't like the extension. And by the way, isn't it his second extension they've given him? I believe it's the second time they've extended him. I want to say they extended him after the first 10-win season, like after he beat Sark that year, if I'm not mistaken. I could be off about that. I thought I saw that. But anyway, it's because y'all don't.
Yes, you're right, Rod. I'm sorry. He got one after 2023 that would extend the deal through 2029, and then just agreed to the new one that takes it through 2032.
So the people are against it because he's basically half the time he's been good and half the time has been bad and mediocre. So I think with the jury still out, he still could prove this contract to be a value for Oklahoma. But I agree, they didn't have to do it. Why they did it? Why did they feel the urgency to do it? Nobody was out there recruiting Brent Venables, for all I know. Now, maybe somebody behind the scenes was, but I don't know who they're negotiating with, Jeff. That's what I don't understand.
Yeah, so I may be reading this completely wrong, which there's a decent chance I am. But I feel like there's two things at play. One, I think the powers that be at OU, I'm not talking about the administration, I'm talking about the guys that come up with the money to get the checks signed. I think there's still some of that Lincoln Riley scorched earth that's still like they want to make sure they don't get, stabbed in the back or fleeced or anything like that. They want to make sure they've got their coach locked up, because typically, like, OU doesn't have coaching searches and coaching changes very often. Just
very true.
There's remarkable stability for that program. And this is an assumption on my part again, but I feel like Oklahoma fans, again, when you lose a coach the way Oklahoma lost Lincoln Riley, you almost want to go completely in the other direction. I think if they're going to fall short of expectations, like, like an 8-4, 9-3 at OU and miss the playoff, kind of like it's like the year Texas had last year, like 9-3, missed the playoff, but maybe you finish like a top 12 type team, which at OU is not meeting expectations. I think they would rather do that playing Brent Venables style of football, like physical football, defense first, be sound in the kicking game, don't beat yourself, just a good sound football team. I just think that style of play appeals more to the powers that be at OU than the Lincoln Riley style, where you win 11 games, but you're giving up 45 points a game in the process.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. I didn't think about them, and the trauma they're still dealing with as a program, I guess, from the Lincoln Riley situation. I did not think about that. That's
I would think, though, if you're signing these extensions, at least I would think maybe athletic departments have gotten smarter that to not leave themselves on the hook for so much guaranteed money, that you've got certain clauses. There's something in there where you can negotiate a buyout or do something. Like you don't want to be on the hook for $60-70 million of guaranteed money.
Yeah, no, this will be it's a big year for all. I mean, because like I said, I don't know what to think of Brent Venables. We know the known commodity. Defense is legit. He's going to put out an elite defense. Is he a guy that can build a championship program there? Hell, Lincoln Riley didn't even really do it. Lincoln Riley still didn't figure out the defensive side of things. So we'll see what Brent Venables can do with there. But it's a really interesting conversation. I still think this season, if he can beat Sark this year, that'll also be big, because he can't seem to figure out Sark 1-3 versus Texas since he's been there.
And last thing I'll add, Rod, let's not forget what Brent Venables has that very few other coaches could bring to the table for OU. He's got the Bob Stoops stamp of approval.
Amen to that.
That's something that I think OU fans, and again, especially the powers that be at OU, probably appreciate that more than him having the offense figured out at this point.
Amen. Yes, OU sucks. No matter what time it is, OU does still suck. All right, let's thank our friends at Hayes City Store. We appreciate them, and you will as well. It is a great place. I've been going there a long time. Me and my wife used to go on dates at Hayes City Store. Now we take the kid to Hayes City Store. It's a fantastic restaurant, folks. I love it. You will as well. Scratch made Texas comfort food. They got their famous truck stop enchiladas, award-winning chicken fried steak, homemade desserts, all of it delicious and made from scratch. Also, they have live music 6 nights a week, 50 beers on tap, ice cold long necks, tasty margaritas. I can vouch for those margaritas. They are fantastic. They got 11 TVs alone in the ice house. So for game days, for college football, for NFL game days, it is a perfect spot for you to watch there and hang out with the family and have a good time. And they even have brunch served from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. every Sunday. It's also dog friendly and kid friendly. They got a huge tree net kids can run around on, lots of space for the entire family. So join the folks out at Hayes City Store and bring the whole crew. For more information, check out the website at HayesCityStoreTX.com. That's HayesCityStoreTX.com. Also, let's thank our friends over at Garage Beer one more time as well. We appreciate them. They sponsor our Friday live stream, and the garage is always open with Garage Beer. It is only 95 calories, crisp, refreshing, and beer-flavored beer, but I can tell you right now, it's delicious. One of my favorite light beers. They also come in traditional and in lime flavor. They're not trying to impress you with their rich history or their fancy ingredients or any other their secret brewing techniques. All you care about is that it's great tasting, which it is, and that it's only 95 calories. So check it out. It's sold anywhere you do your grocery shopping, buy your wines and spirits, or your favorite light beers. That's Garage Beer. All right. Thank you very much to Garage Beer, Prize Picks, and to our friends over at Hayes City Store. Jeff, do you have any baseball nuggets NIL and Rev Show wants to know?
Nothing right now. Coaches are taking some time off, so school starts next week. They'll start getting back at it. So nothing right now.
It's football season. Yeah. Just Casey that says, just saw a video the other day of the 2001 bottle gate with the Jags versus the Browns, which leads me to ask, what is y'all's favorite controversial football moment?
Ooh.
Favorite controversial football moment. Favorite? Favorite is different. The one that, oh man, that's good. That's a good question.
I got to think about one. It would have to be one that went in favor of the team I was rooting for.
That's what I'm saying. You have to pick a favorite and not just one.
Or where I didn't have a dog in the fight. And that's hard.
Yeah, that is hard, actually. That's a good question, actually, Casey. I had to give it some thought. I had to get back to you.
About that bottle gate in a minute. Yeah, I don't know. I'd have to think about that.
Because it's hard to think about one's a Longhorn. Texas, Georgia, bottle gate. Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. That one is not, I don't know if I take a lot of pride in that one as a Longhorn fan.
For whatever reason, like the Bush push against Notre Dame came to my mind. That's not controversial now because you can do that now. That's legal. But
yeah. Tuck rule. Yes, OU sucks. Rodney, speak of Cam, your opinion on his success now that he's with an elite quarterback like Arch and Sark's high-powered offensive scheme. Yeah, he's just gonna be schemed open a lot more. Like he was in the slot, I think less than 9% of his career snaps have been in the slot. Sark's usually puts his number one receivers in the slot on average around 20-25%. That usually gives you favorable matchups, two-way goals. Also, he's gonna have more yak opportunities. His yak numbers are terrible in terms of yards after the catch, and not because of him, not because he can't do it. I think because they don't really have the opportunities in that offense. So I think he's going to have more yak opportunities. I believe he had one screen target behind the line of scrimmage last year. Sark will give him some easy completions just to get 5-6 yards a pop on some screens. You know how Sark loves those. Also, I think he's going to be great. His contested catchability with Arch's, not only Arch's deep ball, which is one of the best. He's on the top 15 probably deep passes in college football last season. I think he'll be even better this season, especially because of the upgrading receivers and the upgrading pass protection. But the scramble drill, which Arch averaged over 11 yards per attempt on scramble drill throws with Cam Coleman in one-on-ones down the field, I think it's going to be deadly. I think it's going to be lethal. So, yeah, just easy. It's going to be an easier time for Cam Coleman. He played receiver, I would say work harder. You want to work smarter, not harder. He was working harder, not smarter.
Yeah, no doubt. CB brought up one, not the non-call versus Bama. I can't say it's my favorite, but never have I thought like a game, like an officiating crew, like really made it a point to determine who won a football game until that Texas-Oklahoma State game in 2015. Like when you had Puna Ford getting called for defensive holding on a run play, and then the Charlie Strong ref bump that wasn't really a ref bump.
That was wild.
I'm like, man, I've never thought an officiated crew was like conspiring against the team, but that game made a really good case for it.
It did. That was some crazy stuff. I'd never seen anything like that before. I still can't explain.
No, it's not my favorite. It's just like you're almost gobsmacked. Like I cannot believe this is actually happening right now. One of those two.
CFB fan 952 says, "Are we going to have some special packages for Jermaine Bishop to start the season?" Jeff,
I don't think you'll have special packages. I think he'll just be in the rotation. Like I don't think they may have some stuff for him here and there, but I don't think when you've got a guy like that that's different than everybody in your room, the key is, can you keep him on the field? Can you have him on the field, but to where it's not predictable, where the defense can't just key on, okay, Bishop's in the game, like 2 or 3 things that they're going to do. So that's part of that. So that's why I don't think they'll have some stuff to maximize what he brings to the table, but I don't think it'll be like a special package. I think he'll just be a part of the rotation.
Yeah, I feel Ryan Wingo did his freshman year is kind of what you'll see from Bishop. Remember Ryan Wingo's freshman year? Yeah. All the reverses, and then they would put him in there, sprinkle him into the offense. I see some of that. All right, I think that's all the – oh, one more from Nathaniel. How about that one from Nathaniel says, does Jonah Williams have the Kyle Hamilton comp? Yeah, the freaky kind of everything – nickel / safety. Now he can play nickel. You can play the big nickel if you don't want him to. You can be a safety, but he's the ultimate movable chess piece. He does have that ability because you can basically line him up in the box like a linebacker. He's got that kind of size, great ball skills. So you can put him in the post because he's got range. So he can be your single high safety, physical enough to come down and play the run as an alley cat. So you can do that too. And I think honestly he's a guy that in a Muschamp type scheme, you'll see him like utilized in a lot of different ways because I think Muschamp can be creative with his safeties. But I think that's what you look at, a guy that can be freaky like that.
I'll settle for Jonah having a good second scrimmage. How about that?
Yeah. But if you look at the ceiling as a player, that's what you're kind of looking at, that kind of guy. The ref in Texas said we want to kick off both halves was like blackjack dealer, and you tell me you want to hit a 20. You sure? Yeah, I remember that. That was wild. That was crazy. That was
Richard brings up one. Sorry, Roddy said Colt throwing it out with 1 second left of the Big 12 championship game, kicking it to beat Sioux in Nebraska. I don't understand why Nebraska fans are still salty about this. Like, there is nothing controversial about that. Like, yeah, it's within there was a second left on the clock. Like, it's legit. So I don't know why Nebraska fans, probably because you haven't had anything to cheer about since then, but like why, this far after the fact, almost 2 decades later, you're still pissing and moaning about it. Like, I don't get it. I don't understand it.
I know why, because arguably one of the greatest games in the history of college football for a defensive player, we witnessed on that day, and they still lost the game. And that hurts. Like, that was you have not seen many defensive performances as good as that in the Dominican Sioux performance.
In that kind of Nebraska football in the post Frank Solich era, though, like, we did all this stuff, but lost the game.
Lost the game. Yeah. That was, like I said, that was, every Longhorn fan remembered that, like, holy Chicago, Dominican Sioux is going to be a force. All right.
That's a Texas win. I cannot go back and I'll rewatch some losses before I rewatch that win.
Man, what was the we should go calculate the pressure rate. They weren't doing stuff like that back then, but you don't get like the analytics from that one and go look at it.
Let's not, Rod. Let's not.
Seriously. All right. Thank you, Jeff. Appreciate you taking the time. Thank you behind the scenes to Jordan, because he's back there twisting and tweaking the dials and producing the show. So thanks to him as well. Thanks to our sponsors, Garage Beer, Hay City Store, Prize Picks. Thank you for all the super chats and the questions. Thanks to Jerry for joining us briefly as well while we got things settled here on the live stream. And make sure that you also get over to ontexasfootball.com. Great deal happening over there right now. 3 months of coverage, right? 3 months for just $3. You won't find it better than that. Practice coverage, breaking news, complete team coverage, insider access, recruiting intel. Jeff, along with Jordan and CJ and Bobby and my man Jerry, guys are in Hank South. Then they're in midseason form, getting ready, getting you up to date, and getting you squared away with all of the news from training camp. So check it out today at ontexasfootball.com. Thank you, Jordan, and for Jeff, and for Jerry. I'm Lifetime Longhorn Rod Babers. Until next time, Longhorn.